I call to order the March special meeting of the Open Source Voting System Technical Advisory Committee of the San Francisco Elections Commission. Today is Sunday, March 17th, 2019, and the time is now 3:17 p.m. I'm the chair, Chris Turdonik. So we'll take the roll. I am here, Member Haig.
Here.
Member Cattell.
Here.
And Member Wasserman and Member Phillips are not here. Just note that attendance today is optional for committee members. Okay, so, and we are located in the library today, the Paley Conference Room. Okay, next item, general public comment. Public comment on any issue within the committee's general jurisdiction that is not covered by another item on this agenda. Anyone? Okay, seeing none. Next item, voting system component development. Discussion and possible action regarding OSVTAC developing and or facilitating the development of one or more voting system components as a proof of concept. Okay, so for this item, this is the only item on today's agenda. That's aside from the previous two. We're pretty much free to work on whatever we want on this, and I have one suggestion. I was thinking we could kind of each work on our own things, but ask each other questions if things come up. But we can also maybe, before we start, prioritize the things we'd like to try to get done today. But so how about would anyone like to say like their thoughts on what they'd like to work on, or any questions or announcements, or?
Well, I can work on the data converter. So if like some of Ron's issues, by the way, Ron, I thought they were all great.
Oh, thank you.
But maybe we could sort of talk through it, like what do you want to do to resolve it? So I could work on some of that as well.
Do you want to summarize the state of it? Like what are the next things you're going to do anyways, independent of any?
Oh, well, I was kind of going to target towards Ron's issues.
Oh, the issues, okay.
One thing I'd say is, well, we talked about the eligible voters, so I didn't add that in because it's only countywide. So I could add it in on races, but then I have to figure out which ones are countywide and which ones aren't. Or do we want to create a separate sort of countywide voter turnout?
I would just do that. Just keep it simple.
But I don't think we have that in our data model, do we?
Well, we have to add it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to just talk about that to see, well, how do we want to handle some of these things? So there's a bunch of issues that we have, and maybe we can come to a consensus on how to address them.
Okay.
So anyway, I could add some extensions to get that stuck into the input data.
Okay, do you already know which issue you want to do first, or you kind of want to look at them more before you decide?
I thought we just discuss it.
Okay.
I think, well, one of the things we want to do is like see if we can get the data converter running again, and then try to run it on the actual election data.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if there's any issues in the input data, then I'll try to fix them right away. So that's basically what I do, is let's try to make sure we're running before we make any changes.
Yeah. Okay. Rowan?
I think I'm going to start with the progress bar shape thing for percentages, and then hoping to get you guys to work on some of the issues that I've filed so that I can then integrate the data into the templates as it becomes available.
Okay, so the thing that I'm most interested in having done by the end of this meeting is I'd like for us to be on our demo page to have the generated version of the two elections that you did. So that means running the script and the demo repo on the data that you just created. So
one thing we might want to discuss is just our directory structure, like how do we want to organize it? So if we have output data somewhere, how do we find the input data, or do we want to change the way the data is organized in the open data, whatever it is?
Yeah, well, so how about if people are okay with, I could try just running it now, And then, like with the structure it currently has, and then if once that's working, we can maybe move it into a slightly better.
So I don't remember like how we did it before. Like we had I think we had result data subdirectory for the files. Is that right?
Well, I'll take a look at it now and let you know. But I think probably what we're going to want to do is in the sample data repo, we're probably going to want to have a folder that's basically the directory contents would be the input. So then it'd be kind of like not mixed in with. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then you just pass that folder in as input.
Yeah. So right now it's actually in two places, but we could move like the election JSON file.
Yeah.
We could move that into the result data if we want to.
Yeah. So how about if I just give it a shot, and then if I can't do it with where it is now, I'll let you know, and then.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
So do you want to work on just getting
just getting it running.
Getting it running again?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the. Yeah, just running OR basically on that. And then
So as far as I know, I don't have any like real issues, but there's like some things that we need to add, like we should be able to distinguish between write-in candidates or non-write-in candidates, because if you're looking at what's on the ballot, write-in candidates aren't there.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you print results, they will be. So I was able to add them in, but I don't think. Well, and I added. I don't remember now. But we need to be. We might want to need a sort of his write-in status or something with the candidate.
Yeah, so, and this is kind of what I was talking about with prioritizing. Like, there's a lot of like little things, like this thing you mentioned, like the eligible voters, then the issues. Like, so it's kind of like among those, you maybe just choose.
Well, then determining winners.
Yeah.
You know, but that's maybe more. It's not so easy.
Yeah, it's harder. Yeah, so yeah, I would just pick whatever you want to, what you think would make sense. Maybe the easiest thing, or something in the middle. Maybe just let us know when you decided.
Sure. Did you want to talk about the Rowan's issues?
Oh, well, I think for getting it running, I think one of the things, I think it maybe touches on a couple issues. Like one of them was adding the, I think it's either the data converter or the results data repo as a submodule of the demo.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, you're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured that's where we're headed, so I decided to get it.
Okay. Yeah. Or did you want to do that test yourself? Or?
I mean, I don't know how to run the script, although I can figure it out, but I just figured that adding the submodule was easy.
Yeah,
so
okay. So then the other thing is maybe we should just check in the thing that do you want to talk about the PRs you've already seen?
Oh, the with Travis stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a script called update text expectation that like builds all the results reporting stuff and then puts the hashes of that in the file that's what the tests expect. And for some reason, when I changed something, I rebuilt that, and the PDF builds differently on my system than it does in Docker. And so the tests fail because there's like a frivolous, not meaningful difference in the PDF that causes a different hash.
There's like a platform dependency.
What changes the PDF?
So I changed like what the results look like, and so that changed the HTML output and changed the PDF output, and that's fine. There's a script you can run to
so
like
it's the PDF
those.
that the result.
Yeah, the statement of both PDFs.
Oh, okay.
And there's a script that you can run to like rebuild it all and then update the test expectations for that. But the PDF builds slightly differently on my system than it builds in Docker for like a platform independent reason. So I'll test for breaking because there's like a not meaningful difference between the two.
The bytes of the PDF are different.
Yeah.
So
the PDF looks the same. There's just like a not meaningful difference between the two. So I updated the update script so that you can run it within Docker now, and then because that does work. It's even on my system, Docker will.
So what are you running on?
Ubuntu.
Okay, that's what I use.
Yeah, I don't. We can compare notes on this too later, but.
Yeah, I think this is a lower priority, but I think it's definitely something worth.
We have a workaround that works now, so let's just use that, and then we can figure out what's happening later.
As a matter of principle, I think using Docker would be better
Yeah.
Test expectation.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Do you want to, do you have any questions about your PRs, or do you just want to commit those?
Let me look at what.
Because I like briefly looked at them. One of them subsumes the other, right?
Yeah, so if we merge number 13, we can just discard number 12.
Yeah, I think, I just briefly looked at it, I think it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
So I also, if you want to see, I added signatures
Oh, you did?
to everything, but if you want to see how it works, I can demonstrate.
Let's maybe hold off on that, just because, is it going to affect what we need to do
No.
today, or, okay.
Not at all.
Maybe hold off on that just because we want to coordinate on this stuff, and then.
Okay.
But, is there
just one thing is, you know, I started using a file called SHA-256 sum.txt, which some people use, but looks like from your, you know, other people use capital
Yeah.
SHA-256
Yes.
with no extension. So
right.
I don't know which is more popular, but I mean, I could switch to capital SHA-256 if that seems to be more common, but I
think
sort
that's
of can't tell.
I think that's what ORR is doing, right?
Yeah, that's what ORS tests do. And
So Travis uses that?
well, it's our code, but
I think the command line might use. It's not a big deal, but maybe just do the all caps version.
yeah.
So I can, well, I'll change it
Yeah.
later to
Yeah.
rename.
Yeah. So, oh, what I want to ask you on the hashing stuff, is that going to affect the output of the results report at any point? Like, are we going to be displaying that stuff, or is that strictly like a pre-processing?
It's just a verification thing. I mean, we could add some of it into the code to verify the hashes.
Okay.
Or signatures if we want to. You know, I think if it were sensitive code like a totaler, then it should validate signatures and validate data as it comes in.
Yeah.
But for just the results reporter output, you could do validation as a pre-processing step.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How about maybe like when we want to take a break, maybe midway through today, you could
Sure.
go over that stuff. Okay. All right. So Rowan,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to get the demo site setting up to render the election data, or?
I'm trying to run the generate script in the demo repo now, and it's failing in a way that I don't understand. So I could use your help with that.
Is this on just the existing one?
Yeah.
With your Docker script, or?
No, just generate SSH. I don't think there's anything Docker related in here.
Oh, but it was working before, but it stopped working.
Well, I just ran it for the first time. I've never tried this before.
Oh, the generate one.
This is the demo repo.
Gotcha.
There's a generated SSH script. I just ran it. It blew up with an error that I've never seen.
Okay, how about if I do the generate one, and then you can work on the bars, and then.
Yes.
Let me see if I can get it running on my machine, and then.
Yeah, so OR runs on my machine. So I do need to reboot to get Docker to work properly, but I'll just do that.
So does the README say how to run it? It's been so long since I've run it.
Running which, the generated script, or the?
Or-
Oh, well, you can do the help. That's usually what I do. Results demo.
Oh shoot, it doesn't allow me to access
Not what I
GitHub.
expected.
You kidding? The Wi-Fi network, or what?
It says SSH connect to host GitHub 22, no root to host.
That sounds weird.
It's like restricted.
Well, I'm able to access.
You're
Yeah.
able to get.
Are you on
home.
the SF library Wi-Fi or the
Yeah.
SF Wi-Fi Wi-Fi?
SF library Wi-Fi?
Yeah, yeah, I was able to like put in a sub module and everything. Yeah, I'm able to get cold. I'm doing it over SSH though, not H. No, the sub module is over HTTPS, so I did both.
Huh. So I just tried SSH with another.
I see. Okay. I'll just keep it sometime. Oh, have you gone through the network logging page thing there?
No, that's probably the reason.
Yeah, you need to do a click through thing there. So just click that button. And then I think it's just like getting you to click like that
Okay,
accept
that's
thing.
the problem.
And then that's probably what it is.
Okay, Ron, so I was able to run the generate script on my machine.
Oh, it works here.
So what error are you getting?
Sorry, mine is rebooting now, but let me show you
Or
that.
did you run the /generate?
Yes,
Okay.
in the demo repo. Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a look at that once
Okay.
you're good, once you're
Yeah.
rebooted.
You're working on the software to report election results.
Yeah, so we have like this is kind of our bare bones demo here that it takes structured data like it's a JSON file and a couple other files that we've collected together from the department selection data, and then you feed in this data into our results report, and then it spits out, you know, some HTML pages. You know, it's got ranked choice voting rounds, and we're also working on like a PDF statement of vote, and this is going to be very customizable, and it will be a replacement for well, this is an old one. For this page that the department uses for its results.
And those results come directly from Dominion?
The way that the department currently does, they have their homegrown software that takes the exports from the Dominion system and they reformat it. But there's a lot of problems with this summary page, like it doesn't even it doesn't even say like who the winners are, the Board of Elections or Board of Education.
Yeah. Which the first three win because there's 3 seats up, but in 2020 there's going to be 4 seats up, and there's nothing that tells you whether it's like a 3 seats up or 4 seats up race, and the winners are.
And like for the ranked choice voting results, it doesn't show you who the final round winner. It just shows the first choice totals. So another improvement our reporter is going to have is that it will show the winner on just on the summary page itself.
How long have you guys been working on this particular software?
We started sometime this year.
Yeah, like off and on though, right?
Yeah, we haven't been working very hard on it, but we'd like to be able to start showing people within the next month or two, I think. And also make it look nicer too, which is what you're gonna do.
So now we have real election data instead of just fake test data.
Great, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, so Carl's been working on parsing all the department's data, which is kind of a mess, right, Carl?
What? It always is.
What's messy about it?
Files, there's data, inconsistent data, misspelled data, missing data. One thing doesn't correlate with another, so a lot of it is untangling. They're originally just isolated info systems where they just had their little cathedral and they could figure it out for themselves, but if you try to reuse the data, it's not good quality.
Well, like you said, like certain candidates may have 6 different IDs that don't match.
Yeah, there's like 6 different IDs and all this data, and well, even the candidates don't agree. So I tried to just make one ID work for throughout the whole thing, but then like a lot of things were missing in the original EMS. That was my intention, to use the original DFM EMS, which a lot of counties do. But SF, for some reason, each time they just move data from one system to another, they just retype everything, because they can't, one system can't interoperate with another one. So that's actually something open source could address by help standardizing all the data and getting converters to work from one form to another.
Because all the counties have different reporting formats, right? Like if you're pulling data from multiple counties, then it's all different.
Well, all the counties use one of 2
Right.
EMS systems, and there's only, I don't know, 5 or 6 different certified vote counting systems, but they just print stuff out on paper in one thing and you retype it in on another.
Well, so Carl, like, how are there 6 different IDs? Because I thought we're only dealing with a couple systems. Like, there's the EMS, and then there's the.
Don't ask me.
Where are they? Where
just
are they
even
coming
within
from?
the EDS, WinEDS, there's 3 IDs.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They just use things inconsistently. So like the statement of vote has one set of IDs, the WinEDS file is another set of IDs, and then they have sequence. Sometimes they use sequence instead of ID.
I see.
And then OmniBallot is, they have their own like 3 or 4 ID, 2 or 3 IDs, some of which are useless, but
So the error is that
Oh,
some sort of contest.
It looks like you need to update your submodules or something to get latest.
I just downloaded this repo like 5 minutes ago. So
Okay.
that sounds plausible, except I feel like there's no. I can check what I have here. Is that the latest?
So what is the SHA of your?
Oh, you're right. It somehow is different. Yeah. Yeah, because this commit sounds like it would implicate that, and I'm at this commit for some reason. Display the candidates in order to vote total.
For,
I don't know how that happened.
For the overall repo or the submodule?
For the submodule. So I don't know why I'm at a different.
Do you know the?
Oh,
right?
I have to. Yeah, I know how to do it. Yeah, sorry.
I
I haven't worked with
it up. It's
submodules
like,
manually for a long time, but I'm getting my muscle memory back.
do you have a wrapper script at work or?
No, I just know how to do it.
Yeah, you have to do like submodule update.
Yeah, I
in
have to.
your
There we go.
recursive or
And
something.
then I have to actually commit this, but before I do that, that works. Okay, I just have to commit the update here.
Which update?
The update to the submodule. We have to. The submodule doesn't like magically track the latest version of the results reporter. It just like stays frozen in time.
You're saying that submodule you just added?
The submodule that was already there that you put there is a couple versions behind because like there are no magic updates.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, how does it work on my machine then?
That is it's because. Okay, here's why. Maybe we should change the generate script then, because when you run, so here's a generate script, right? It uses the submodule for the OR path, but the actual OR command that it runs is the one that's installed in your system, not the one from OR path. So if it was running the historical version of ORR that's embedded in the submodule, it would be fine. It doesn't. It runs the one that's installed in your system.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe that is the issue.
What do you think would be preferable?
The thing that I just said, which I'm going to try to do.
Running the submodule version?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, how do you do that?
Okay, so Ron, just to be clear, do you, so someone's going to have to get the reporter running for the data that Carl made?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that or should I?
Why don't you do that?
Okay.
And I can work on.
And then how much more do you need to do before you hand it off to me?
Now that we know why it's how to get it to work, you can start doing that, and
Okay.
I'll try to get the script to work, but or I can just file an issue about that and we can do this later.
Which one?
Because the fact that it doesn't use OOR from the sub module, because it's not trivial to do that because you have to like run pip install.
Well, you can file an issue. I'll do that
Yeah.
today or after today.
I would rather someone who actually knows Python do it than someone who pretends to.
Okay. All right, then.
So there's two issues in the demo. So I'm guessing you're talking about this work, right? Like adding
Yeah.
demos for the real results from June and November.
Yeah, and then do you want to? Yeah, so add another one about running the submodule version.
Yeah. I think.
And then, did you already close an issue then?
Yeah, number one was to add the sub module. Which I
Okay, so then the other thing is, should we be running this from Docker, do you think? Like,
yes.
ideally?
So maybe the way that we do it is that there is a wrapper script in the OOR repo that just like does all the stuff. That actually would be preferable. Then,
okay, why don't you file another issue for that too, and then
Yeah.
but that can be a little bit lower priority.
Yeah, and I'll link those issues.
So, okay.
Let's see. So this is.
Oh, one other issue that I had.
What's that?
Well, like for the result data, there's one directory that it has like the downloaded input data, raw data, it has intermediate data, and the output data, all in one directory. So I don't know, maybe we should separate like the
Definitely.
output data that's only used by the results reporter from
Definitely.
all of the other stuff. So I guess I called it result data just as one thing, but
Do you even want to be storing the intermediate data? If it's just or is it just for checking
well,
purposes?
it's kind of like you can. The
Inspect-
intermediate data is sort of to see what's there, what's in the files.
Yeah,
So,
then I would put that in a separate directory. You have input, intermediate, and then
well, the input's
output.
kind of already separated. I stuck it in the zip file, and I just read from the zip file because it's voluminous.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what to call the directories then.
What's your top level right now?
Well, there's the date, election date is the top level. Then I divide it by EMS, which is like the source data from the DFM EMS. Then I have OmniBallot, which is the data converted from the accessible ballots. And then result data.
I mean, I would just keep it simple. Just say input, intermediate, and then output. And then the input one can be divided into
or
this
result data dash
yeah.
something. And then result data by itself is just, and should I stick the election definition with the result data?
Oh. What's the result? Is that the output you mean?
Well, the election definition doesn't change, but then, every time they come up with new results, then the other files change.
You understand what you mean?
Well, let's see, if we look at, see here's our, so if we look at sample data, what is it? Under test minimal?
Well, I wanted to see in your data repo.
Oh.
That's what we were asking about, right?
So this is the, here, let me just, so these are the files. So a lot of these are just the TSV files for each contest. There's a subdirectory result data raw. It's also in this zip.
We'll go up a level.
So now there's, these are just the PDFs for ballots.
Yeah, so I'm saying at this level, I think you should have like 3 directories: input, intermediate, and then output. And then output should just be basically only the result data that you, without all the intermediate files.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then all this stuff, Omni ballot, EMS, that can go in the input directory. Right?
Yeah.
So
So you're saying just create an out, I could just create an out directory here.
yeah, but so then the only data that you're ever manually going to edit is what's in the input directory, and then the other 2 directories, intermediate and output, get auto-generated from your scripts. Okay.
Yeah, just even what's input and output and everything gets blended. But I think the final output we want to put separate. Because it's like there's just a lot of conversion going on from one thing to another.
Yeah, but I think the important thing is you don't want to be writing. You don't want your converter scripts to be writing to the input directory. I think you want to keep everything.
Agreed.
You know, you like only write to the intermediate file or intermediate directory, and then.
I see. So if we put it in a container, then you can give a read-only input.
Well, but it's just easier to reason about if you're not mutating your input directory, you know. It's more of a functional. You have your input, you have a working area, and then you have your output, but you don't mess with the input.
Okay.
And if you need to copy files over as is, I think that's fine too. You can put them in 2 places. Because Git is smart enough where it reuses the the file. You look confused.
Well, it's just that like intermediate files in one area and intermediate files in the other area, data goes back and forth.
Well, I'm saying there should only be one intermediate area.
I have to divide it up by the kind of data that I'm working with. It's too complicated otherwise.
Oh, you're saying there's multiple stages? Like
Multiple stages, and then you also have to go back and forth between them. Because like EMS data is different than, the Omni ballot data conversion from the WinEDS conversions. So it's more, each subdirectory that I have now depends on what data it comes from.
okay, then. So are you suggesting?
An output converted from one gets, read as input to other parts, and even vice versa. It's not just one directional even.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I think I kind of wish we had a whiteboard. Oh, do we have a whiteboard? I think we need to.
There are things that look like.
It looks like a whiteboard.
Oh, we need to bring our own markers, I think they said.
Okay. Well, there's, yeah.
We have paper.
Yeah.
In the meantime, by the way, did you guys know that our results reporting format for non-RCV races doesn't have percentages at all? It tells you how many votes for each candidate were election day versus overall, but there's no.
So actually, I haven't seen, because I think Chris, you did the RCV, so I haven't.
No, I just mean this. Like, I was like looking for. I mean, there's percentages here, but there's not actually like percentages in this table at all, which is kind of
in
weird.
ours?
So I think yeah, this is
That's
also
fine.
our.
I mean,
I think I might just redo this table.
It's fine. It's just scratch.
Yeah, I know it is, but
Yeah, you can.
this itches and it's just me and I will redo this table at some point in the future.
There's a general question about as to like what computations should the reporter be limited to versus.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to
But
divide?
I mean,
What's
Okay.
that?
when you're reporting results for an election, you want to report percentages.
Yeah, whether
Just
the
general.
percentages should be in the input file or if we should compute them on the fly, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Okay, so are you saying that, so you're saying that like your EMS, you might, so you're saying that you have like input for each of these different systems and then you kind of merge those together and do
Well,
stuff with
they
them?
I have to do a bunch of munging on each one, and then like I might move data from one system, to the other. Like when we create our election JSON, I take district definitions that come from the EMS data.
Well, so what is the problem with, having, you have like an input, intermediate, and then output. And then for the input you have, EMS, omni-ballot, what was
It
the
just
other one?
makes it a pain to work with.
Okay, so what is a pain about it?
Just that you've got like all this file hierarchy. So instead of having 3 directories, now you've got 9.
No, but what's nice though is for someone coming to the repo, they know exactly where the input files are. And then, because when it's all mixed, there's no way to really, you don't know what's what. So I mean, here.
So also it depends what you mean by input. Like if we're talking about imported files,
I'm saying
but there's also things like the configuration files.
I'm saying by input I mean anything that is not, that the developer would have to manually add to the repository or download. Input is anything that, I guess the definition of an input file would be any file that is not automatically generated from other files in the repository.
Okay.
It's something that the developer has to manually add to the repository.
Well, I mean, I have scripts that download the stuff.
Then I would say that so that's not considered, that is considered input because it's not auto-generated from other files in the repository.
Right.
It needs outside.
And then I have configuration files.
Yeah. So, I mean, so tell me, so what's making it hard to separate the input?
Well, just if it's scattered in 9 subdirectories instead of 3, it's just a lot more awkward to work with.
Well, how about this?
Even the 3 now are a pain in the ass.
Well, what about this? What if you had, I think it's important to segment all the input files from the other stuff, and then what if, like, as a first step, your software just copies everything into like a sandbox intermediate folder and then just does all its work as it does now? You can do exactly what you're doing now, but it's just like a preliminary step. It copies everything into one directory.
Oh, I see, instead of a check-in?
Yeah, you could do that. But it's going to make it a lot easier for like a new person to like come into it if the auto-generated stuff is not like mixed in with. So because the intermediate directory, it can like be free to do whatever you want to make it easier for you. It's just. But the key is just keeping that separate from the input and output files.
Yeah, well, even output files, it's hard to know which is an output file and which isn't.
Well,
I mean, if it's only ORR only has
well, that's what I mean.
like certain ones, but then if you're doing other things.
Well, then fine, you can call it ORR output or something. Just maybe you want to have multiple output folders, one for each. But the thing is, for when we're running ORR, we want to make it so we know exactly where the files are for that, in like on the spot.
So the simplest thing is to create an ORR and out-ORR.
Yeah.
And then make the script, change the script so it writes into that directory.
Yeah.
And then I can put everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's easy enough to do. I think it also makes it easier to find everything.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just do that as the simplest shape from what we have.
Okay. Do you need to run init after a new submodule is added?
Yeah,
You do?
you do, because, yeah, you need to download that. That will actually go on, like, on that repo.
I hope we're being exciting enough. How big is this sample data repo?
It's decently large.
Which one?
The one you have,
Well, what do you mean?
the repository as a whole?
How big is it?
Yeah.
Uh,
So like over a gigabyte?
Oh, this doesn't actually work. Okay, well, nice try.
Are you working on the bars? Or?
There's like a, what's wrong with this browser support table? It's very nice that these features are documented, but like nobody supports them.
Which feature are you using?
It's, there is a CSS feature where you can use the value of an attribute inside of a CSS attribute. And it works in very limited ways, and apparently not actually, like there's a unit conversion feature to the added to it, so you can say like, use this as a pixel value or as a percentage value or whatever.
Are you going to be
And then the support table for that is just like all red.
Are you using bleeding edge CSS?
I was using something that I didn't realize was doing at CSS, but now I'll just.
it's 635 meg.
Okay.
Oh, except that I have some more files, so it's less than that.
Okay, so Carl, which one should I try first, the June or the?
Why don't you try November, because
Okay.
that's what I work with most.
And then currently, where are the input files for?
There's one file in the OmniBallot directory, and the other ones are in the result data.
Okay.
I mean, if you copy the one from result data, then it should just work. If you copy all of them, even though OR doesn't use them all.
Okay. Okay, so Carl, I think it would help if we could put the input files into one directory, like now, so that we won't need to copy anything to Ryan.
If you wait like 10 minutes, I'll have all the output data in one spot.
Okay.
So you'll just have everything in one spot.
Okay, great.
Oh, do you want a pretty printed JSON file?
Yes. No, it's not necessary, but I think it's nice to have.
Okay. I just forgot to add the dash. I have an option to, it either just uses new lines without the indent, or true pretty printed. Okay, so I have it checked in, but I just have the output data, except the other one. I'll fix that momentarily.
Okay. I thought it was funny how at the meeting, the last meeting, we had Jim Soper asked if he wanted to, if he should bring a lot of people. You come here, there's like 20 people.
And they're welcome to hang out while we do all this stuff, but it might not be very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, how did I do this?
Wait, you said you did push it, Carl?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna fix the other one, but something just broke.
What are you trying to do, Ryan?
I am making little bars like this that indicate how many votes each candidate got. And it's doing things that I don't understand. It's like, if I tell you your minimum width is 100 pixels, why are you becoming 178 pixels wide? It doesn't make any sense. It's consistently 78 more than I tell it to.
What are the different options for making bars that you know of?
What do you mean?
Well, like one would be you have like a 1 pixel.
Oh, so, I mean, what I did is I just have.
Or is there like a CSS only version?
Yeah, this is just CSS only version. So this width value is from this, and then there's just like it tells it to be a certain height and a certain background color.
Oh, cool.
And then I just need to have a. What if I tell you? Does that help? That helps, and then it produces the same results.
This is from June 2018. That's the date.
This is fake. Well, it's fake data-ish. The mayoral results are actually the correct ones, I believe, from June 2018. Yeah, this is what actually happened in the June 2018 mayoral election. But this is that's somewhat easy because it's a smaller. There were only 8 candidates and it's a smaller thing, and I don't think we actually have like the real precinct breakdown there. No, we don't. We just have fake data for the precinct breakdown for now. But this is the real result for the mayoral election. And Carl's working on getting, I think, getting all the real results in.
Yeah, it's just a small sample for testing and what you were working on.
Let's make this. But then it's squeezing white. This is so annoying.
Are you going to scale? Are you going to make the highest total be 100% of the bar, or are you going to make?
Ooh, I could do that too. That would be interesting.
Because then it'll.
Yeah, then it'll make more efficient use of the space and give you more.
I think that's what David had suggested. What?
In CSS 2.1, the effect of min width and max width on table cells is undefined. Yeah, that. Oh, okay. That's sure. I can just do that.
So Carl, I got my first error message running the OR on the 2018 November.
You got an error message?
Yeah.
So did you copy stuff?
I just copied the election JSON file, but that's all.
Oh, just the JSON file?
Is that all I need to copy? Into
No.
the result data?
You need to copy the result data as well.
No, I copied the election JSON into the result data. And use that.
Oh, I see. And then use the result data dir.
Yeah.
Except that I think it, when it runs, it assumes the election.json is in the directory above.
Well, I pointed it at the directory itself.
Well, I'm just saying that I think the way we had it, our current test data running, is the election JSON is in the directory above.
I see what you're saying.
A subdirectory called result data.
Okay.
So instead of
I know.
maybe we should change our data loader so it makes it the same.
No, it's better. It's better that way. I just forgot.
So should I? So then, on my out data, should I create a subdirectory called result data?
Yeah.
So I put the election. I'll have it out ORR, and then I'll have the election JSON under that, and then I'll have a subdirectory called result data that has all the detail files.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, that's a great suggestion, Chris, but how do I interrogate the data model as to what the highest percentage is?
Make an issue, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, that's related to the winner.
Yes. Yeah, the person with the highest.
One is going to assume that.
Yeah, I get it.
What you thinking about?
I'm trying to think if there's a way that I can hack this in the meantime.
Yeah, it would be nice.
But you're right, I'm also looking at the winner thing. I'm like, oh yeah, if it's the winner, then it's their vote total.
There'd be some pretty advanced CSS to iterate through all the numbers.
Yeah, I already can't do this in pure CSS anymore. But I guess I can just, I might be able to hack around the fact that the winner's always first.
Yeah, do that.
Just do that. if I can figure out how to do that in disease.
Okay, yeah, so I don't want to distract you, but Carl, but I guess the error is that one of your stat type IDs is not defined. The RS OVR.
Which one?
RS OVR.
It's not defined?
Yeah. At least in
That's
the,
overvotes?
well, apparently, yeah. But you don't have an ID for it inside your results stats list.
It should be in the elections file then. So what's the error?
Oh, it just doesn't recognize the ID.
Which ID?
The RS OVR one. Oh, I see. It's a case difference. That's why.
Okay. So what should it be?
It should be.
Where is it? Is it?
It's in the 2018-11's election.json.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a casing issue. Do you see that?
Just a moment.
Okay.
Where's the?
Well, why don't you finish checking the other thing and then we can do the second.
Okay. Ah, shoot. And there's one called contest status.json. Is that in the result data subdirectory?
Yes.
Let's see if this works.
Nope. What's up?
I tried to do something, it didn't work. Might be a problem.
Hey, what was? What's wrong?
Variables and change are working in multiple ways. Sorry. Go ahead.
What were the, for the issue number 3 in the demo repo, what were the recent changes to the results report? Were those things that you had made? Or?
I don't remember. That's what it said in my notes, and so that's what I filed, but we can defer that while we make more changes. That's something that we should
It's
do.
going to be an ongoing one.
Exactly. It's just something we should do periodically.
Well, I believe I just did that and it doesn't appear that there are any changes.
Oh, maybe we already did it then.
Oh, so I got my PR merged into Voting Works.
Oh, cool.
AMD.
Oh, he took it?
It's like a one-line change.
Oh, okay. Well, he's probably happy that somebody else is doing something right.
Yeah, well now it's locked in this GPL. So we got to change.
What's that? Oh.
Yeah, they can't go ahead and,
No, that's not.
Oh. Did you sign a contributor license
I
agreement?
did. Oh, yeah, actually. I think I might have already given them that ability.
Are you working with Ben?
Well, I just for fun, I filed an issue on the repo just to prove that I could distribute. I fixed a typo, spelling error.
well, what do you know? It actually, the naive way actually works.
Great. It's looking good, man.
Get that thing working, but
Can you make the bar look like an American flag?
you know there's a CSS property called background image?
So, how are you doing it? Like, just with a rectangle where you set a width?
Yeah, so in the
You have
HTML
a
there's just
paragraph or something,
yeah, so there's a div and it just sets,
sets a width.
oh, that's weird. So it doesn't carry over. Okay, so it's not working. It looks like it's working, but it's not.
Huh?
What does that mean?
It
So-
looks like it worked to me.
It worked, but Chris said you should scale everything to like the top result being 100%. And the top result was 100%, but it doesn't, I need to do a trick so the other rows carry over. But yeah, basically, yeah, there's
Well,
this
normally
bit that says
you
I'm
wanna
for
scale it so that it's relative to the.
exactly, to
top
the
one.
winner, yeah. So the fact that the winner is trying to be 100% wide is correct.
Oh, I guess I've seen other ones where they're always a percentage of 100.
Yeah, so then it would look like this.
So the thing is that makes it so you can compare the bars, across contests.
That's true.
So I think that's
But it
actually
also-
preferable because,
Which one?
well, like this. So you
So-
see it's like 50% as opposed to, having it change for every contest.
That's a good point.
I guess I could try to draw the dotted line at 50%. Although you
Sometimes
wouldn't
they
be able
use
to
two
see it,
colors
yeah.
actually, but
Right.
I think
Yeah, and maybe this top one should be green or have a different color to indicate this is a winner.
Although in some cases, like the Board of Education, it's kind of like an apples to it.
Yeah, the
What's
Board of
that?
Education results are nasty.
Well, like the percent of the total isn't very meaningful in that case.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, actually you could do it by ballots.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if that's in do we have that stat?
We don't currently, I don't think, although with the ballot images, when ballot images are captured, we probably would have that stat.
So, which one is Board of Education? Which election?
November.
November?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How are you?
Yeah, like the winner got 15%, and the runners-up got like 13, and the winners got 15, 13.7, 13.2, and the runner-up got like 9.3. Like this is a 3-seat election. But that's because it's 15% of all the votes, so really that like 45% of the people voted for her. But
Well, like even if 100% of people voted for you, you'd only get like 33%.
exactly, yeah. So in this case, probably like 45% voted for Allison Collins, but that means that she got 15% of the votes because every vote counts 3 times. So that's, yeah, okay. I'm just going to make the scaling thing work, and then we can choose that later.
Okay, it's much better now. So all the output is just in one directory, and you don't have to worry about all the other
Okay,
crap.
great.
And that's actually easy to work with too.
Great. Is it pushed now or?
Just about to push.
Okay.
I didn't sign it, but I'll push it without signing it first.
Well, how do I know if it's?
Okay, I'll
authentic?
sign the damn thing.
Can you just look at the shot on your computer and then I can double check on my screen?
So we're seeing a new technology that's unknown in elections here, of actually using digital signatures to validate the data before we move it across machines.
Has your signature been approved by the Secretary of State?
No, it has not. It hasn't been approved by anyone, including me. It's to be done.
Why do you need to use a digital signature?
What's that?
Why do you need to use a digital signature?
Well, if we move this data around and somebody downloads it like Chris, he needs to be able to see whether that data's been altered or not, and he can confirm the source of the data. So if this was official information, it should have a digital signature by the County of San Francisco. And then, so that's a way of validating the data. And if you use a hardware device like this, only someone possessing that hardware device can create these signatures. So I activated my PIN number.
What's the PIN?
I'm not gonna. It's a trick question, right? Let's see. I need to add something to my.
It's okay if it's not signed in this case.
I'll deal with that later.
Have you ever been in this library before?
I have.
Yeah.
Came here last year when it was a cooling center.
So I need to add a switch. I wrote a little script so that we'd call the signer code. But if you want to see a demonstration now, here's how it works. You just say GPG signed. And the first time I plug this in, it requires a PIN number. Although there's some like weird thing, it takes a long time before it pops up a little window for me to enter the PIN.
Why do you think why?
I don't know.
That's your script or that's?
No, it's something with
hardware?
GPG.
Oh.
Are you telling me that GPG has usability problems? Because I know.
Well,
Is it like?
okay, so it
is
finally
it like waiting for enough entropy or something?
I don't know.
Oh, it might have also, if he's signing like megabytes of data, it might have also been hashed.
No, it's just unlock the device.
Oh, great.
So it just takes like a couple seconds to re-sign it.
Right.
So anyway, I just wrote a wrapper script called GPG sign. I'll make one and add a Python and check it in.
The thing I don't like about submodules is that you can't like tell it to track a branch, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I think there's like half support for that, but
Yeah,
I don't know why I don't have that feature.
we use Garrett at work, and it actually does have that feature, but it's because like it wants its own Git server and everything, so it just like fakes it in the sense that like we have like a meta repository that gathers a bunch of repositories together, and if you look at the history of that thing, it's just like all automated commits made by the Git server itself, keeping everything in sync that way. And it's automatic, which is nice, but yeah, before we had that, it was hard.
Okay, I think I pushed now both the June and November election data.
Okay, let me see here.
And it should be in with election JSON at the top level and
Okay, I see it. Let me
No.
Okay.
Oh, whoops.
So what is the capitalized?
Yeah,
Error?
so I'll tell you what the errors are. It's the one that's the OVR for overvote. You have it all caps and it should be lowercase v and an
Okay,
r. Under the November 2018.
okay. Okay, I found where it is.
Yeah, so why don't you fix that and then check it in, and I'm just going to be running this and I'll let you know. Because there's another error after this too. I'm glad Nina came because we're supposed to have a minimum of 5 people.
Oh.
So
Count
we're
as
closer to that.
Oh, okay, so it's more defensible that we're not just sitting here with 3 people.
So do you see what the change is?
Yeah, it's one of the, if there's a JSON file, it reads as a template. And it's somehow, I don't know how it got in there, but that's where it is.
Okay. Did either of you watch Star Trek at all?
What?
A little bit.
Yeah?
Do you know what the prime directive is?
Yes.
Yeah.
It occurred to me that being a reporter is a little bit like the prime directive.
Yeah.
Watch Star Trek.
Observe but don't, yeah.
Oh, don't interfere. But they violated it all the time in Star Trek, almost every week.
Well, then the show would be fun to watch, right?
They need a prime directive for software. Don't make new edits that make backwards compatibility fail.
Oh, you mean for us? For today, you mean?
Well, just software developers in general.
But did you guys know that Git is working on? I don't know where they're at. But they're working on increasing their shell length.
Oh, from SHA-1 to something else?
Well, the actual identifier is going to be like twice as long, I think.
Right. That
Like
sounds like an interesting project.
It's a pretty sweet. Well, they've outlined their migration path.
Okay.
And I think you have to opt into it,
Yeah, that sounds like a very difficult migration.
but
But also a necessary one now that like SHA-1's been known to be like vulnerable to collisions for some time. And it seems like you could wreak havoc by like causing delivery.
it's going to touch a lot of stuff in the software.
Yes, that it is. And migrating existing large repos seems very difficult.
Or just even all the tooling around it too.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't test it.
Yes.
Maybe I should look.
Well, here
Can you just search for the string?
I think it was in the election JSON file, right?
Yes, it was, but I mean, there's also the question of the fixing the cause of it too.
Yeah, I fixed the
You
cause
fixed
of
the
it.
cause. Okay.
So I just regenerated all the data
Okay. And then,
now, and
yeah,
I pushed it, so.
Oh, you did. Okay.
So you said there was some other issues?
Yeah, I'm gonna run it again and let you know. Why is the whole JSON file getting affected?
Huh? What do you mean?
Oh, I was just curious. When I look at the diff for the change, like the whole JSON file changes.
Did I not do it with pre-printed?
Oh, maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
You know, maybe I by accident put one in.
Let me take a look here.
Oh, shoot. I forgot to pre-print it.
Okay.
Hang on. I should just put that in my...
You should
I
just
have
do it by
a shell's
default.
one-line command script to run it. I can add that. Okay, I re-pushed.
Okay. Okay, so now the error I'm getting is that it does not recognize the key, precinct key, has no voters.
Precinct key has no voters? Is there something I added that changed the data model?
Maybe. Yeah, I need to see.
Because I added a no voter precinct somewhere. I'm not sure if it's outputting this.
Okay. Do we... Oh, was there an issue where maybe if it's encounters something it doesn't recognize, it errors out, which we don't want to do. We don't want to be that strict.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain if we have to make sure it's...
Right. I mean, it does help to know if we're accidentally missing something, but I'll make that change.
So, but what is it erroring on? What's the name of it?
Has no voters. Has underscore no voters.
Has...
I could just, I mean, what I'm gonna do is, I could just change OR to not error out if it finds something it doesn't recognize.
Oh, I see. It says has no voters true on precincts.
Yeah, just leave it, it's fine.
So yeah, there's a few things I need to add. That's one of them. Is it easy to make it so it doesn't croak if there's something?
Well, that's what I'm gonna do right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then I can add things like write-in status.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll just have it print a warning for now.
Okay.
Use the restroom.
You have to go to the first floor.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. So do you think I should create a attribute called is_write-in?
I suppose for in the definition of a candidate, you mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're called choices, I guess, just to be
Oh, or a
general,
choice,
but,
yeah.
they are candidates.
Yeah, a candidate is a subtype of a choice, right?
Yeah.
Oops. Oh, yeah. Are you? Oh. It's because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work. Oh, this needs to be less.
What's that?
No, that's probably not actually correct. Hmm.
So, Chris, I was proposing to add a attribute called is_write-in, true, false, but can I just put true for the ones that are write-ins? Or should I add it for everyone?
I think you could just do it for the ones that are write-ins.
That's what I did for the other one, the no voter precinct, true.
Yeah, I mean, there's a documentation issue though, where, like,
Well, the default is false.
no, but I know, but, like, what is it?
What does it mean?
No, I'm saying if, like, what triggers it to be true? I mean, what triggers it to mean true? Is it only if it's true, or if it's like one, or?
What?
Oh, that's fine, that's fine.
I mean, it's true if the candidate is a write-in candidate and not a normally qualified candidate.
Yeah.
So in California, in order to be valid as a write-in, they have to file just a statement to say that they're running as a write-in.
So it'll be, it's a set to a Boolean true?
It'll be set to true if it's a write-in. Well, there's one that I have. Well, it's, I guess it's not a problem, but. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. I'll do that.
That sounds fine. Oh, and then also, Ron, don't let me interrupt you, but were you going to check in the build fix?
Oh, like approve that roll request? Yeah, I can do that. Sorry. I'm fighting. Oh, wait a minute. There you go.
So is listening to programmers boring?
Not at all, no, it's really interesting. My brother works is an engineer, so I'm used to it.
You said what?
My brother's an engineer,
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm used to it. Or software engineer. Yeah. It's not wholly unfamiliar.
When I said at the commission meeting that we were going to be meeting during the weekend, one of them was like, "Oh, are you guys going to have a hackathon?" I'm like, "Not exactly."
Actually, I told somebody I was at a hackathon and she thought I was like, got together with a bunch of people and tried to break into computers. She was like convinced I was some evil guy. It took me a long time
I think
to.
that's a hackerathon.
I don't know.
I was trying to do something and it's just not working. I was trying to
So
like
you know
try
the
and
meaning
cut
of
offline
the word
at
hacker?
6%.
The original meaning?
But it's harder than I thought it was.
No? I don't know. It feels like a trick question.
So now in the popular meaning, hacker is like someone who breaks into computers.
Right.
But originally it was like a very highly skilled programmer that could like hack out code really fast.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, no.
We also use the term hack to mean like like quickly building something, or
Right.
like building something by taking something and changing it
Yeah,
slightly.
that makes sense to me.
So originally hacker, they'd say, oh, he's a real hacker, meaning that he's like a really
When
good
did it
programmer.
get sort of co-opted, I guess, for lack of a better word?
I guess because like people who were able to break into computers were the real hackers, so they just started calling it that maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting. How did you get involved with voting? With like open source voting?
Just out of personal activism.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I was like concerned about things like the environment,
Mhm.
so I thought the solution was to help educate voters to make information more available. So I became kind of an information activist, you know, at making public information accessible. And then
Through voting first, or like through?
no, just in general, for a lot of public data. It was a big problem, like there was a big fight to get the laws published online, so they didn't want to do it because the state legislative data centers sold the laws to one publisher who had a monopoly
When was
on
this?
printing. It was in the 1990s, I guess.
That's amazing.
Isn't it still the
AB
case in Georgia?
1632, what?
Isn't it still the case in Georgia though, that in lots of other states that there's,
Oh, a lot of this stuff is copyrighted.
yeah, which is
Like all the
ridiculous.
court records that you're required to reference are copyrighted, and it's like you can't access them, they're public records.
Well, you have to FOIA them and you have to pay for them.
Well, that could be a good legal defense too, but like I didn't know the law was not.
Well, I think that should be,
Available.
if you can't access the law, then you shouldn't be required to follow it, right?
You said AB 1632.
I think that's what it was, but I could be wrong.
in what year?
I don't know, let me Google it. So it was sponsored by Deborah Bowen, who became the Secretary of State. So there's a big fight, and a guy said, "Oh, just give me the date. I'll take my 286 computer and I can post it online."
Huh.
So they finally passed this law, and then they published it. It was in a really unfriendly format. So about 3 days later, like 2 other groups had like taken the data, downloaded it, and reformatted it so you could read it easier. Oh, it's 2006. Let's
Might
see.
not even be necessary.
So Carl, I think what we could do is we could have like a strict flag that via the
That sounds
CLI.
good. So I'm not getting a hit on 1632, so it must be a different, I must be remembering the number wrong.
Well, I'll find out.
If you're interested in that, Nina, just the other day, one of my friends tweeted about this, that they had fixed a typo in DC's laws because they recently put theirs on GitHub. To which one of my friends who works in the state capitol said that this is really cool. My workaround for fixing typos in laws is Rowan reads my laws and then emails me at midnight to suggest.
That's interesting. DC just put its laws on GitHub. Huh?
I think they recently started doing this. Oh, where is it? Yeah, there was an Ars Technica. So there's an Ars Technica article. If you Google how it changed the law with a GitHub pull request, you'll find it. Oh, this is apparently from November. This was published on my birthday last year, but I didn't notice it until.
I don't know. Government and technology are very interesting.
Mhm.
They intersect. I imagine you all believe that.
Okay, so one.
Okay, I'm gonna head back to
1624.
1624.
Okay.
Heading back?
It's on
Yes.
Deborah Bowen's
Deborah
Wikipedia
Bowen's
page, that's where I found
Wikipedia
it.
page.
There you go.
Should we talk about a time to meet later this week now, or should I follow up with you over email? Maybe better.
Sure, we could set something up now. Maybe,
Oh my god.
it's like Thursday afternoon, maybe, is that?
Thursday afternoon is perfect.
Okay, it's like 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you can come to Berkeley, that's great. If not,
Yeah, I can come to Berkeley.
okay. I'll
Great.
reserve a space to. We have like a production studio at the day school, so I can get a proper taped interview. Rowan, does 2 p.m. on Thursday work for you as well, or 3 p.m. Does Thursday afternoon work for you?
Sorry, say it again?
Thursday the 21st.
Thursday the 21st. I will be teaching, but after that I'll be free, and I'll already be in Oakland.
Okay, so
But
what?
I teach from 3:45 to 4:45.
So like 5:30 in Berkeley would be realistic?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would be able to be in Berkeley around 5:30.
Perfect. Great. I will. Great.
So I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, should we create a separate section called like registration and turnout?
Yeah.
So we could have like a per precinct registration on that page if we want to. And there's I think there's a party breakdown, but I don't know if that's per precinct or not. So if I create a separate section called registration and turnout, then it's sort of at a comparable level as a contest. But if we can load data under it somehow.
Right, so I think that there's already some stuff in the data model about how there's like, oh, you mean it's the same level as contest? Okay, so it's,
Well,
yeah,
it'll be sort of like that in that you can have like,
because within a contest you have choices and result stats.
but this would only have results.
But this would be a
stats.
higher level. Yeah, so what I'm saying is you have a contest, and then within that contest you have choices and you have result stats. But you're saying this is a cross contest.
It's like would be
So it's
countywide,
like, yeah, it's a higher, one level higher.
so it would only have result stats.
Right.
And that's where I could include, at least as, you know, in the total, I could include, you know, countywide eligible voters.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no published data on how did they come up with that number? And
Yeah.
it's not any more detailed than
You know
total county.
what's even better is that San Francisco recently ran an election in November where the number of eligible voters was different for one of the elections than for the others. And they did not, I couldn't find them publishing the different numbers for that.
But it's the state that publishes the
Right,
eligible
and so-
voters, and they just do it like
Yeah.
at certain times.
But in the SF Board of Education election, they allowed non-citizens to vote this year.
Oh, really?
Yes. And there was only like a couple dozen people that signed up because
Is that a special election, or do you get a special ballot type thing?
yeah, it's a special, yes. So they isolated the Board of Education election on one card, and then people who showed up to vote for just that one got just the one card.
I see.
But yeah, that's fun, right? So we amended the city charter
All right,
to,
we'll follow up with you guys about details about
Yeah.
location. But that-
Yeah. we passed the charter amendment in 2016 to do that, and then by the time it was actually implemented, the city attorney was like, this is extremely scary immigration-wise for some people, and so only like a very small number of people actually sign up to do it.
Because if they're, well, it depends if you're legal, if you have a green card.
Exactly.
or not.
If you have a green card, then it's hopefully not actually an issue.
Okay, so now I'm getting another error.
Okay, so you fixed the, so you added a pedantic flag or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, a strict flag. But I just added a function argument, but I defaulted it to false, so
Okay.
it's not going to affect it. So I'm getting another error now. This. And then. Ooh, almost. I'm just going to do osprey things, but if I make this. So instead of that, don't do this. So it looks like the result style is missing from some of the contests.
Result style?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're comparing the election JSON in our test data?
Yeah, let me find, let me just. Yeah, okay, so in the minimal test, we have something called result style where the values can be things like EMS or EMRW. Is that correct? You know about that?
That's in the election JSON?
Yeah. Which is like plurality voting, subtotal by election day, etc.
Okay.
But in the November information, we don't have that.
Is it in the contest status or the
It's in the contest object.
contest status?
No contest. It's in. Oh, did you move that?
No. Well, there's a separate file.
No, this is in the election JSON.
Okay.
Why?
It's in a contest, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see result style. And then, okay. Do I have any result styles?
Yeah, I'm checking for that right now. Doesn't look like it. No.
Okay.
No, but you have the result styles defined, but you don't actually let's choose one for each contest.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, that's right. That's gonna be take a little bit more time to fix, right?
Well, I think that has to be a config file item because, we don't know which contests are which. Like, I don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to add it by hand?
There we go. Something like that.
Yeah,
Or
well-
like with some pattern matching or something.
Well, that's just like the other stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right. I don't know what all of your,
So it depends if it's rank choice. I
Well-
thought I have something in there. Let me try and figure
why do you need to distinguish the write-ins though?
Depends what you're printing out, I guess, that's all.
No, but why would that be contest dependent?
It isn't, just the candidates that
No,
have
but-
their name explicitly.
No, but you have, under result styles, you have with write-ins and without.
Oh, because like it just depends, if you're printing a ballot, then do you have, like for the governor, it was if you have a runoff or a general election after a primary.
Well, this is not affecting the results though.
No, it just affects which columns because you don't have write-in columns for the governor
Okay.
in November.
All right. So I have a couple questions. How should we like work on this stuff outside of meetings? Like, how do we decide who's going to do which issue?
I don't know. I mean, it's easy
just
for me
want-
to, like any issues that are related to
Do we just
data
wanna
conversion,
kind
it's
of
easy for
decide
me to
right
do
now?
that.
We could each give ourselves a bunch of tasks, right?
Maybe we could just. Do you want to just assign them now?
So anyway, I'll get result styles, but it'll take me like maybe 15 minutes or something. 15 or 20 minutes. How much time do we have? Oh, about a half hour. 45 minutes.
Go with 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe what I could. Well, I don't want to hack that. It seems like it's going to take longer than 15 minutes because there's a lot of contests in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure, like,
Oh,
so I thought maybe there was also something in this.
So how about, well, Carl, can you let me know after this meeting, can you let me know if you don't fix it today, when you fix it, and then I'll just run it again and then let you know what the next error is.
Okay.
We'll just do it that way.
So I think it figures it out in the result converter, but it doesn't pass it. I need to import that back into the election definition
Okay.
because it looks at what's there to figure out what, like, is it ranked choice or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to use a configuration file because I can, reverse engineer the output.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe only 15 minutes to figure that out. But should we discuss the issues and figure out a strategy for solving them?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So how about if I would like to focus on getting the script to generate the demo pages from the files in the sample repo.
You want to, what?
I'm going to be working on just getting the demo to display for the two elections.
Okay.
And then I'll just let you know if there's ever an error, and then you can fix it
Okay.
on your end.
So I mean, on Rowan's, like make winner a candidate attribute. So I guess a couple of the issues that he had, you know, we like loop over the results.
Yeah, so,
And like, so right now we just return an array of numbers, but maybe we need to have an alternate one that returns a struct that has like a value plus other information on what it is.
let's just do it this way. How about if you, you read the issues and then you just add to the data model as necessary? And then I will update ORR to like.
So I mean, some of these issues are template issues, like we need a different routine in the template to be able to access the information. And
Yeah, well,
the data model is okay.
Yeah.
It's just that, like,
I'll do the template
Oh,
ones.
I guess when I wrote data model, what I meant, and maybe I used the wrong term, but what I meant is like the things that I get in the template.
right.
Well, I'll if it's exposing something through the template, I'll do that. And if we need to add a new attribute, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll add the attributes,
Okay.
and I'll get, I'll have the winning status, and so, like we have some things in the election JSON file that has like these result styles, and then we have like translations for some of these things. So if I come up with an enumerated type for, you know, winning status, that's like a letter, should I also have like another, you know, definition in the JSON
Yeah.
that has like the you know, a word with translations for those?
Only if it needs to be displayed.
Well,
If we don't need to display it, you should document it in the, like in the markdown.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
so the other thing is to put it in the template, but of course, so the thing is that you could use that in a template and just use the code number.
Right. But I'm saying we don't need to. I would actually.
Or can we just make it the enumerated type?
Well, we're gonna.
And then just document it and not.
Yeah, you could just use
And
the
then
letters.
you have to do whatever the template, because you might want to call it different things. Although you may have to use a translation
So
table on the.
So I think one thing to do is if you're going to have certain like hard-coded things that always remain the same.
Like this one is one example.
It is?
Yeah, I think that it'll just be a set of like 5 or so
Yeah.
single letter
So for this one,
codes.
I'm trying to find where it is. Can you start adding in to this? There's on the doc folder of OR. There's a section called input JSON format, and just like it's not filled out yet, but maybe just like document these codes, because I think we should start adding documenting our JSON format.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing about these issues is let's just, like if you're waiting for me to get finished something, I can just tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we're not like communicating on GitHub.
Yeah. We can just agree now on what we're gonna do and then wait
And just like
for it to be done.
let people, yeah. And then,
So there's like some responses. I mean, like I looked through like the issues and wrote some notes on it. But I mean, if you want, I can just email you the things that we need to do to the templating code.
yeah, okay, that's fine.
And then if you don't want to do it, I can
Okay.
do it, so.
Okay. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, so, and then you're going to check in the build thing?
Oh yes, those.
So another thing I want to ask you about, Carl, is the languages stuff.
Yeah.
How are you generating the, how are you currently generating the multi-language?
It comes from the Omni ballot.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. So I have to sort of reformat it.
Are there any phrases that are not, that need to be
Yeah.
translated that are not?
Yeah.
And how do you think we should store that stuff?
Go
Can I tell you what my idea was?
ahead.
I think we should have like we could have a global, like, kind of a dictionary of all phrases that are kind of like constant.
Yeah, that's
We
my
okay.
idea. So I thought we could have a global dictionary with also like some sort of context parameter or flag associated with each phrase. So because you might have a word, depending on its context, it might be translated differently. So like the default would be reuse it, but if we need to say if it's a candidate ballot designation, it might be translated different than
The other
some sort of result.
The other thing is, I think it would be good if it's stored in a way that, like, each language is in a separate file.
I think that's the best.
So you don't.
So you could have well, I would say you have the English phrase, the translated for the English phrase, a context, like attribute something, and then the translated phrase.
Yeah, and then also there should be a way that you have like the English master one, and then you could like generate a template for like Russian where it would like copy that.
Right, so they
you
just
could
fill in like a spreadsheet.
You could just give it to them and they can send it back to you. Okay. And then what about the format for that?
I don't know.
Like
You
YAML?
could use a tab to limited files. You could import it into a spreadsheet.
Oh. Okay.
Well, that's just an idea.
Yeah, I was just thinking if there's like a paragraph or something. In cases.
Oh, what?
Are there cases where it's like a paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you could do that in a spreadsheet cell as well.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I mean, or at least that's just an idea.
Yeah.
There's sort of some issues about translating TSV files. Or the other way is you make it a text file with some sort of notation.
Yeah. Well, I think
Except that
TSV
people
is
tend to
fine.
not follow directions.
Yeah, I know. TSV is fine. Or I think spreadsheets are things that people would use more.
I mean, the other thing is it could be like a Google Doc, and we could download it directly and then write a script to download a Google Doc and translate it into a TSV.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it's in a TSV, it'd be easy to manipulate. So one thing I do is, I don't know if you have new lines in the...
Can we have like a phonetic thing so that it could generate audio ballots?
Oh, that's a good one too. But for every word in every language, you have to do that? I mean, for every phrase?
Names? No. Well, I think if it's...
So actually in Prime 3, in their ballot definition, they have the print spelling, and they have an alternate spelling for voice readers. So they have some in their demo ballot, they have some funky names just to make sure it comes out.
Mhm.
Oh, she loves already.
Okay. And there's also cases where we're going to need format strings too.
Like messages?
Well, it would be vote for no more than N, or it's like...
Oh, yeah, so,
You know what I mean?
let me write that down because that's a good point. And I thought of that before I thought about this before, but I haven't thought about it again for a while. But you want to be able to,
And it may be
like what I did is I put in curly braces, another word, number.
Because maybe in one language it occurs before the thing, but in another language it occurs after it.
Right.
So yeah, brace is like a format string.
So the thing is, you could put a brace and then like number or something.
placeholder.
That means any word that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have a separate table for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll match any of those.
Yeah.
And then actually the way that I did it is, actually I do some of that stuff in the data conversion that I have now, like to match things. So instead of making people write regular expressions, I have a simplified way. And so you can say like number 1, number 2, number 3. If you need to just.
Well, another one is like, you have like assembly district blank, you know.
Right, distrito,
Yeah,
assembly, but it's a number.
right, and there it's not as,
So actually there's a number with words and a number with digits.
right. Or
So I
there's
think-
also the ordinal number 2.
What?
Like first, second versus,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Numbers are tricky. I've actually given conference talks about this stuff, about the subject.
So I have all this stuff in my district database conversion software. Well, not in here, but my other stuff has to untangle all the ways that you write these things.
yeah. Are there any languages that don't use Arabic numerals for numbers?
Yes. None that we are in any danger of having to support in San Francisco, I don't think.
I think they all use Arabic numbers.
Arabic, as spoken in some places, ironically, doesn't use those because, like everything else, we misnamed them. So they use, I think, Western Arabic numerals or something, which is different. Bengali uses different numbers, and there's a few other languages. Bengali is my go-to one for testing when I need to test number formatting, because it uses different numerals and it uses different groupings. So it doesn't group by thousands, but it groups by like first 3 digits and then 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
Oh, also for the report lab issue, I'm actually belong to the report lab mailing list.
Oh, okay.
And there's only like one email a month. It's not very
Right.
traffic. But if I could let them know there, or unless you want to file an issue on Bitbucket, I think it's up to you.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more responsive on the mailing list that it's
Yeah.
been found.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really dug in yet as to what.
No, not for now. Just in the future. Like you can either
Yeah.
join the mailing list and do it yourself, or you can let me know.
So for what it is today, you want me to just push it into the repo, or do you want me to make a PR?
Just push directly.
Okay.
I trust you. As long as the bill works.
I'll make sure to update that. Actually, let me. Oh yeah. If I'm going to do it in multiple commits, I should make it pass each one. So I'm now splitting my work into multiple commits and then submitting that. Because I also got this thing working with like the 50% cutoff thing, but then I realized that it's not meaningful for most things. It's really only meaningful for like RCV maybe, and it's mostly meaningful for ballot measures.
Well,
Ballot measures can be 50% or 2/3.
Wait, what name a case where it's not meaningful?
The BART board election, where the 50% mark, well, I guess you could still draw where the 50% line is, but like no candidate might actually have exceeded it.
It's fine, but it
Right. Yeah, but in that case,
It's
if you
informative.
normalize, it's true, but then I guess you have to normalize to that instead of normalizing to the winner. Because if you normalize to the winner, then the 50% line is like outside the
well,
table.
I'm actually. Well, I was wondering if maybe. Well, I kind of liked Carl's point about maybe it's better to have.
Oh, so don't normalize to. I can do that.
I know you just did it at work though, but.
That's fine. I'm gonna preserve some form of this anyway.
I mean, let's talk about it. I don't.
Yeah.
So how are you doing it? Are you doing math inside the template?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I guess it's not that big of a deal for this case.
Well, there's one case where the template is doing math to generate CSS that then does more math. But that's fine.
I
That's
mean,
just
the other
because of
thing is we
workaround.
can write a subroutine in the templating code.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty.
I think if we're going to do arithmetic in the template, it should be formally verified.
It's pretty straightforward in the sense that I just need to store. The most difficult thing was convincing Jinja that I wanted to like have a variable to persist between loop iterations, which you can't actually really do. Or rather, you can't have from inside the loop iteration. You can't overwrite a variable that exists outside the loop, but you can update dicts. So I needed to like make a dict with one field, that exists outside the loop and that gets updated.
I think you
inside
can
the
also do
loop.
things like assign to a Python dictionary.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing basically.
Oh.
So then the first iteration, or rather the iteration that, well, this also relies on the, it's a big hack because it relies on the first iteration, like processing the winner.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
Yeah, so that actually, this is a good thing to, there's a good seed to plant in your brain. Not only would I like to be able to know, like, when I'm processing a choice, is this choice the winner, but also, like, when there's a set of choices, I might need to, like, need to access the winner separately.
Yeah.
Because if the winner is, like, somewhere in the middle, then when I'm rendering the first one, I need to already know what percentage the winner got in order to be able to, like,
Yeah.
do normalization.
Well, even if you don't use it, it would be helpful to have, like, what is the highest vote total or something.
Yeah.
Like in this contest.
Yeah, like either the number or just like, if you're gonna do it, just like have an accessor that just gives you that object with all the, like the percentage and the number and the name and everything.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, in terms of this dotted line, like, I don't know if like the barkboard doesn't require a 50% threshold, then is it really our place to be putting that in there?
Right, especially because, yeah, but for
It's like
RCV
some elections
percentage-
only have like a 40% threshold.
Well, most elections don't have a threshold, right? Like whoever gets the most votes wins.
Well, actually, but it could just be like ticks along like a scale marker. It's kind of like viewed
Right.
that way.
I was mostly, the most of the reason why I was thinking of putting it in there was because there's measures that require 2/3.
Yeah, that's it.
Um,
Yeah, well, maybe we can just have like a threshold attribute on.
Yeah, I was about to file a task actually. So I'll file that. Threshold to formula.
But for cases like Board of Education where it doesn't really make sense to talk about the percent.
Yeah,
total,
exactly.
we could normalize to the top vote getter.
Yeah, so right now I'm normalizing the top vote getter and drawing a 50% line for RCB races.
Which will be less than the.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like now.
I see.
It's kind of difficult to see because the election is so close, but the green bar very slightly
That's cool.
exceeds the
Okay,
line.
that's good.
And the orange line very slightly
That's
doesn't exceed it. But it's less meaningful here. It's much more meaningful when you have like a yes or no.
And then for the percent issue, was that,
What percent issue?
I noticed an issue where the Department of Elections' own results pages were miscalculating the percents.
Interesting.
Like they were, there was like a really blatant issue, and then there was like a more subtler issue. Oh, it looks like they fixed it. Or no, they didn't fix it. So look, this is from the 1996, check this out.
1996, of course. Okay.
But you scroll down to the local propositions.
Yeah.
Try adding up these numbers.
Oh, that is 99.9.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these are 99.9.
So what they're doing is they're like rounding down in each case.
Oh, you're saying
Oh.
they can't say 100.
And they're showing that the hundredths digit even though it's not meaningful.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh,
And
they
they're
show
including
two-digit decimal
they're
digits?
not calculating the second.
They're not calculating the second decimal digit,
Oh,
but
really?
also they're also rounding down both values, so that always adds up to 99.9.
Well, here's a case where it's 100, but it's.
Oh, okay.
It just
Yeah.
depends.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the bottom like 4 or 5 were all 9, so I stopped looking.
But so this is an argument that we shouldn't be computing stuff in the results reporter, because to avoid issues
Right,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Well, it depends if you want like results that show 2 digits of, I mean, you could do it with a filter.
Yeah.
Do I need to
Like
see
you
more?
could, if you want a de-resolution, we could write a filter to say, round to the nearest,
Maybe.
integer.
So what should we, like, what would make sense? Because like in the data model,
So actually, I think we're computing turnout in the code, not in the result data.
well,
votes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, in cases where we want to show vote totals percents, is it always clear what we want the denominator to be? Like, that's another issue.
I think it's always, yes, I think it's there's a precise definition.
But is it like ballots cast, or people that cast, or like number of voters, or number of ballot cards, or number of, is it like people that abstained from the contest?
Well, the
you know?
question is, you get, like, if you have vote for 2.
Well, let's put aside
Yeah.
that, let's just do vote for 1. Like, even with vote for 1, if someone undervotes, is that part of the total or not?
No.
No,
No, undervote votes are not part of the total. The total is the number of valid votes for a candidate.
Really?
Yeah, because that's also how measures work. Like,
Okay.
for measures, you need to get, like, if someone undervotes on a measure, that doesn't like drag down the 2/3 threshold.
Well, then, in that case, I think that it should be part of the JSON file. To like,
so there's,
maybe not, it doesn't.
like, there's a total votes in the JSON file, and that's what you can use.
Oh, you just always divide by that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So
If we know
there's a
to-
definition of all the other things, like ballots cast is a specific number. Ballots rejected is,
Yeah, I remember that.
and then, there's this thing uncounted, but we don't have those stats from San Francisco, so I'm gonna remove it.
Okay.
So it turns out I computed the election type in the results reporter, but I used a different code, and so I have to output that data and then feed it back when I create the JSON. So it probably will take me longer than 15 minutes, so
Yeah.
maybe don't have time to do that today.
Well, they want us out at 5:30, so we're probably gonna have to start
Okay.
wrapping up. Oh, I need to take public comment on this item.
Oh yeah.
But there's no members of the public, so we don't need to have that. Okay, are there any other things we want to be sure to talk about over here? Oh, like, for example.
I mean, do you want to talk about the issues you posted?
Well,
Roan, I guess there's 9 open now.
I just found another one, but yeah. So there's I think most of I hope if you guys have any questions about them, then please let me know. I think most of these are pretty clear.
So turnout as a percentage available, we don't really have that. We don't have eligible voters.
just
Well, it
Yeah.
depends on a different issue, which is this.
So we have that for countywide,
yeah, that's right.
but, and some contests are countywide.
No, but this is an election-wide number.
Yeah.
So that's why if I add a section for turnout and registration, we can add that in there.
Yeah.
And then we can add that percentage you saying you want it as a template variable?
I actually did not come up with this. I think this was maybe Chris who asked for this to be added.
Yeah.
Oh, it says you.
Yeah,
No,
I
he
filed
just
everything.
created it. He just
Oh.
created it. He's the messenger.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, okay.
So another thing, Ron, when I'm getting the demo working,
Yeah.
if I like add instructions on how to update it, if it's just a matter of running generate, can you like run that as you're making improvements to your
Yeah,
display?
I can do that.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna make like a shell script or something, bash script or something to like run the
Yeah.
ORR with the right?
Yeah, and there already is.
Yeah, like parameters.
It's just adding like 5 lines.
Oh, okay.
I might make it a Python script, I don't know, just to make it a little bit more, like, might want to have a flag, should it be run in Docker or not, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's just going to be a shell script. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's what I started doing, even though it's only 1 line, just to simplify things.
Yeah.
Well, and I use this shell script in lieu of trying to install it as, regular package
Yeah.
or whatever, so it'll run parallel.
I mean, when you want to start adding more options, it helps to use Python, because
Yeah.
like where there's this issue, like should it be using the OR that's installed versus the one that has a certain path, and it's another thing. Okay.
So some of the things like distinguish between choices and results stats in per precinct data. So right now there's a template iterator, and it returns an array of numbers. So if you need to be, when you're in that loop, you need to be able to say, what kind of thing is it?
Do we already have the data in the data model, in the JSON?
So
So from now on, when we see data model, we're going to mean what's in the...
So the JSON contains the top level and and it's in the JSON, but then the detailed data gets loaded as a matrix, and the template.
Okay, so it's already in there. We just need to expose it.
So yeah, we need a different. Instead of returning an array of integers, you need to return an array of dicts or structs that have the value in it plus the other attributes about what it is.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of like writing another routine, you know, analogous iterator that gives you all this stuff.
I think another thing that would be good to do would be to have maybe like a CI test where it actually reruns the generate.sh and makes sure that it exits successfully or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how are you, so do you, in the RCV, do you keep the candidates in the same order, or do you sort them by?
I don't know yet. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can check right now.
So I'm not sure if we have that capability, but I found in a lot of results it's nicer to resort candidates by their
Definitely.
winning order, by votes.
Yeah, they're sorted in there. They're sorted here. See?
Oh, okay. So the winning candidate is on the top?
Yeah. You have this nice...
Yeah, that looks good. And then the eliminated ones just don't show up anymore. Yeah, that looks good. So there's actually two ways if you have when you have vote for two, there's two ways to display percentage. One is percentage of total votes, and the other is percentage of ballots cast. But you have
Well, this is what we were just talking about.
Right, that's why I said it's easy because there's a number in there. But that works for vote for one. But vote for it, there's two meanings of percentage. Do you mean percentage of the total votes?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or percentage of the
I think percentage of the
ballots cast less. Well, you have to take out the ballots rejected by overvotes and ballots rejected by...
I mean, ideally, the voting system might not even report how many ballots have a mark, right?
What's that?
The voting system might not even report how many ballots have a mark.
They'll have undervotes.
So you're saying you can compute that information?
The undervote information is there.
Well,
and I believe it means
well, here, let me.
How many votes were not voted?
But also there's remember there's this whole question of does undervote mean how many bubbles were not used versus how many cards were not filled out?
It means how many bubbles were not used.
Okay, then you can figure it out. Okay.
Right.
No, but this is a different question though. It's how many ballots had at least one mark? Is that?
We don't know that.
Because that's the number I think it would be best to do percentage for. Because you can see how many voters that participated voted for you.
Right, so we don't know because you basically have to include undervotes in the percentage.
Yeah.
Well, unless you divide it by 2 or something.
Maybe we should make that as a requirement of our voting system. It should be report how many.
Well, sometimes they record blank votes as a separate count, or as a separate. Maybe we should have blank vote.
Yeah.
Well, if it's vote,
All right, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting in a second, just because we're supposed to be out of here. Okay, so any last things before we're ending the meeting? Do you want to have another one of these next month, or do you want to try to do this once a month, or we
Fine.
can
with
talk
me.
about it later? But
Okay.
all right. Carl, do you want to say something? I think there's enough to keep everyone busy. I think.
So I think, yeah, so if you can keep tweaking or tell me what's up with the
Yeah.
results, so.
I will. Okay.
So maybe like tomorrow or something, I'll be able to fix this last problem.
Okay. All right. Well, great. So it's 5:40 p.m. The meeting is now adjourned.